New views, new visions, new victories. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we're taking public media black.
America has a problem.
Happy Tuesday. You are rocking with Jill Munroe. Welcome to RSVP with Jill Munroe. It is such a pleasure to be here tonight. We have so many trending topics and headlines to talk about. I am your host, Jill Munroe. I said that. Sometimes I repeat myself. It's okay. Joined tonight by my contributor, Trent, the artist. Trent, say hello
What's
to
poppin'?
the people.
Happy Taco Tuesday.
Did you have tacos today?
I did not, because I did not feel like waiting at Worldwide Tacos for an hour and a half tonight.
Okay. Are they that good? I've never had worldwide tacos.
I'm going to have, you know what, next Tuesday was 4th of July, but for the following Tuesday, I'm going to bring tacos in here. I'm going to get the order now, and I'm going to be ready, because you guys have to have these tacos. They're absolutely worth it. It used to be 4 hours. Now it's down to 1, so I'm gonna slide with them and work with it.
We'll see. I'll have to trust you on that. Tonight, it is Tuesday. We have so many headlines to get into. Let me just get you prepared for what we're going to get into tonight.
Uh-oh.
So the Smith family is back in conversation. Jaden said that this particular thing that his mom Jada gave him and the family helped them to develop a better relationship. We're going to get into that. We're going to get into the Weeknd's next career. You know, he said he's dropping the Weeknd. He's going to be able, and right now he's into his acting bag. Well, that's not going so well. We're going to talk about what's going on with that. We're going to talk a little bit of the sports, because, you know, I like the sports.
Of course.
Or at least the sports related.
Yes.
We're going to talk about Vanessa Bryant and a lawsuit that she has won on behalf of her husband, Kobe Bryant. We're going to talk about Shaquille O'Neal and some of his comments about his ex-wife, Shani. Familiar topic for Shaq. You know, we're going to talk a little bit about that now, actually. So Shaq continues to mention how he messed up with Shani, right? We know he cheated and all of these things, and now he's very single. Shani has moved on. She is married and happy and flourishing. But Monica, you know, Monica Gunica.
I love Monica Denise, a.k.a. Gunica. I love her.
She has a new podcast. It just launched.
We mean nothing by it, Monica. I love you.
Monica
Absolutely.
knows that. Monica knows who she is.
She be trying to play games. Why y'all call me Gunica? Come on, Monica.
But listen, so I bring that up because Shaq was a guest on Monica's new podcast, which launched earlier this week. And of course, they got to the relationship thing. And Shaq said that Shani will always be his wife and he's always going to take care of her. Do you think that that is a little boundaries overstepping? She's married. She has a new husband. I get the general idea of the statement.
Yes.
But, you know, a larger than life personality, she's married now. Isn't that kind of inappropriate?
That's kind of overshadowing. I would feel some kind of way. You would have to be a very, very, very extremely confident man to not let that bother you. I'm pretty sure that this gentleman has had conversations with Shaq, but I get the idea of what he's saying. And I think also, as a Pisces myself, when you accept that you've messed up something, you kind of spend a whole lifetime repaying for it, you know? So I've made a mistake with a couple of friends, so I kind of go out of my way still to do things for them just to make up for the mistake that I made. Okay. So I get that.
Okay, well, we're going to talk more about Shaq and what else he said in this interview and his feelings around love and that relationship. We're also going to talk a little court files blotter thing. We're going to discuss Diddy and what is happening with his alcohol brands. So we're going to get into those headlines. We're going to get into a little bit about a comment that Lil Bow Wow made about a subject that I talked about earlier about music. We know in 2023 so far, there have been no hip hop records that have made it to #1. So
not even the City Gals?
Not even the city gals. No city gals, no Meg. The women are ruling. We talked about that with the BET Awards, how the women are the only ones really making noise in hip hop right now.
Wait a minute. Drake hasn't had a #1 song this year?
No, he has not.
Fascinating.
So, things are changing in the world of hip hop.
Okay.
So we're going to get into a little bit more of that and what Bow Wow had to say as to why there's no #1s in hip hop currently.
I don't think he's the appropriate person to speak
Why
on
not?
that.
Bow Wow's a legend if you think about it. What he did as a child star.
Okay, Mr.
The fact that
106
he
in Park.
is still Exactly. So he has a stake in this. We're in the 50th year of hip hop. He had something to say, so he has perspective.
Sure.
He's been in the game for
All right,
20
Chad.
plus years. Okay. And we're going to talk about some commentary on Twitter about Jodeci and the male R&B groups of the 90s. We're going to get
Black
into
Twitter
that.
is it's a slippery slope, and I love it.
Black Twitter is amazing and awe-inspiring and shameful all at the same time sometimes.
It's crazy. But come on, it's Jodeci.
So we're going to get into that topic, and we're also going to talk a little bit about some accolades that are headed Chadwick Boseman's way, our Black Panther superhero. And we're going to get into a little bit about something that is happening more frequently because of open carry and just an incident of it's not mistaken identity, I guess it would be mistaken situation. So those are some of the things that we have coming up. We also naturally have our good question of the day.
Which is?
So the good question of the day surrounds exes. No. Exes, yeah.
Okay.
Ex relationships, like we mentioned, ex moving on. Do you think that, and this is my good question, and shout out to you guys in the chat because you always keep it lit. If you are not checking us out on YouTube in the chat, make sure you are doing that. If you're not checking us out on the app, what are you doing? Take us with you. Download the app. Hit us up on our socials, KBLA 1580. You can hit me up on my social anytime at Stiletto Jill. But back to the good question. So that is some of the locations where you can answer this good question. Are you offended or are you sort of charmed if an ex has conversation about you and it makes its way back to you? That's what we want to know in today's good question. Is commentary a bad thing, a good thing when you have moved past the relationship?
I hope none of my exes are watching this right now.
So those are some of the topics that we're going to get into tonight on RSVP with Jill Munroe. Thank you for checking us out on KBLA Talk 1580. When we come forward, we'll have all that and more.
Infusing a sense of fun and entertainment in every episode. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward.
If you're a business owner or lead a nonprofit that's between 26 and 49 employees, please listen. Lendistry is proud to announce a new program whereby small businesses and nonprofits may qualify for reimbursement of COVID sick leave expenses incurred in 2021 or 2022. This program is administered by the California Office of the Small Business Advocate. Eligibility criteria apply and funding is limited. For more information, visit COVIDPaidSick.com. If you're a business owner or lead a nonprofit that has between 26 and 49 employees, please listen. Lendistry is proud to announce a new program whereby small businesses and nonprofits may qualify for reimbursement of COVID sick leave expenses incurred in 2021 or 2022. This program is administered by the California Office of the Small Business Advocate. For more information, visit COVIDPaidSick.com.
The Shadow Sister Tour is coming to Malik Books, Westfield, Culver City Mall, Friday, June 30th, 2023 at 7 p.m. Author Lily Mead will be signing and discussing her new book, The Shadow Sister. This book is perfect for fans of emotional suspense, sisters with stories with complex family dynamics, and speculative fiction, including hoodoo. Lily Mead's captivating book is a must-read, truly a page-turner. From the first line to the final page, the moderator is New York Times best-selling author of the book, The Black Kids. Come out to Malik Books, Westfield, Culver City Mall for the Shadow Sister Tour, Friday, June 30th at 7 p.m. There will be diverse books featuring strong female leads. Malik Books is a community bookstore that amplifies the voices of our community and gives voice to the voiceless. For more information, go to malikbooks.com. Again, that's malikbooks.com.
Leroy, 71's backed up. What's your 20? Over.
Olivia needs more drivers for her trucking company to go the extra
We've
mile.
got 3 more stops to make.
She wants to hitch a team to drive business forward.
Lots of double nickels on the 169. You know what I'm over? This driver shortage.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey, Dad, how do airplanes fly? What's in this box? Is this tree good for climbing? How are babies made? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Talking to them about gun safety in your home is a good first step, but you can do more. Always keep your guns locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
Hey, keeping you informed, entertained, and always ahead of the curve. This is RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey, it's Jill Munroe. You are checking out RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. And we're going to get into our hot topics for the evening. So first up, we're going to talk about Jaden Smith. Now, the Smith family always gets tongues wagging, piques people's interest. But this time, Jaden was talking about something that Jada did for him and his family that actually brought them closer. But as it's always the case with the Smith family, it's a little controversial. So Jaden was speaking last week at the psychedelic science conference in Denver. So earlier in the week, it also had, NFL newly minted New York Jets quarterback Aaron Rodgers speaking at the conference. And so what Jaden was discussing, he said that using psychedelics boosted his empathy for others and inspired philanthropic efforts to improve his relationships with his family, all the members. It helped him to show more empathy to his older half-brother Trey. It helped him to understand things more with Willow. And he said the use of psychedelics as for a family dynamic was actually introduced to them by his mother Jada. So what he went on to say was that his mom was the one to first make the step. She thought about it for a really, really long time. And she said it just trickled down to the family because it helped them loosen up to be able to have these conversations. So, Trent, are you open to new ways to explore, to resolve conflict, or maybe make things easier for conversation? Do you think the use of psychedelics is an appropriate way for family counseling?
Who am I to judge? Okay, that's number one. And as I was thinking about this, I was like, psychedelics. She's talking about mushrooms. Okay,
right.
It's no different. And after processing it, it's really no different from having a drink at the table and engaging in a conversation. Some families have a shot or a glass of wine, to induce these difficult conversations. Some of the cousins, they step out into the back and circle the block, so it's no different from some of the things that we've all seen before. It's just not as open. I don't know if it's mushrooms, but
it's a different approach. What I will say is that although there is some clinical research that suggests there are legitimate benefits to psychedelics, mushrooms, in the proper quantity in safe settings, that's per the experts. It's also a reminder, you guys don't go off and try this just unannounced, unaware. But the Smiths are always doing things their own way and in different sort of patterns.
You know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, I had mushrooms before.
You really? And what was that experience like?
Twice. The first time, oddly enough, I was with my uncle in Amsterdam. when in Rome, you do
what they
yeah,
do.
nothing happened. Nothing happened. I looked and I was just like it was
Okay.
like something happened. But the second time it was a little different. I had it in some chocolate.
Okay.
And that was different.
Well, it worked for the Smith family,
Yeah.
apparently. Okay, well, in sort of connected news, not exactly, but we can see how these related. Have you checked out the HBO show that is produced by and starring The Weeknd called The Idol?
No.
No. Apparently you aren't alone in that.
I know.
It did not make it till its full run. It was scheduled for 6 episodes. HBO decided after the 5th episode that was enough. They had seen enough and canceled the show before the 6th episode came out. The show has been steeped in controversy since it was announced. There was originally a female director named Amy. I am not remembering Amy's last name at the moment. She was on the series and she jumped off of it because she wasn't comfortable with the direction that it's going. People have indicated that it was a bit sexual, over the top, as is the case with Sam Livingston produced shows. He also produces Euphoria. But the question is, why do you think that HBO opted to just let it leave before even letting the final episode go? There's only one more episode left to go.
I know why. Because they're jumping ahead of something.
Think so?
Oh, for sure. Because in my mind, I'm like, you're jumping up, but you read the script before you got it and before you started shooting.
But it's a different show because Sam Levinson works a different type
It was
of way.
greenlit.
It was greenlit
before it went into production.
It was.
So you knew what it was when you got into it. So why? Come on, 5 episodes in, like you're jumping ahead of something. Something happened on that set that we don't know about, and we'll never know about it because they pulled the plug. Yep.
Okay. Well, let's get into this Jodeci conversation because I, for one, am a little offended by this. So, there's always conversation about who matters to the culture, who's relevant. And for some things, I think that if you weren't there, if you weren't a part of it, you can't understand the feeling. You can't understand what it meant to the people at the time it was there. So on Twitter, Jiggy J2 tweeted out, and it got a bunch of engagement, Jodeci was actually the worst quartet, and I truly feel they get too much credit. Drew Hill, 112, Boyz II Men all gave us better R&B and sounded better. Even Blackstreet sounded better. They just needed better songs. So there's so much wrong with this statement. One, saying Blackstreet needed better songs when Teddy Riley was in Blackstreet.
Okay, clearly this guy was born in 93.
So that's one. Two, not understanding why and what Jodeci brought to the scene when they busted out in 1991 just shows how much you don't know music or you are really not of that time.
He was a 2-year-old when Jodeci came out. That's why he doesn't know.
I think she's a girl, actually.
Okay, she was 2.
Perhaps, but I think of it like this. I was not alive when the Jackson 5 hit the scene, but when I saw stuff looking back at it, I still understood the power of performance and what it brought. You may not like everything, but I think to say that they were poor, to disrespect Devontae's production value, to disrespect the fact that Jodeci brought an entire different look to
a sound, yes.
A sound and a look, they really combined that sort of gospel. We know the Commission is featured heavily through their music and that influence, but their look with the black boots, the shades, at that time looked more of a rougher type of guy.
Yeah,
you had your clean cut guys with Boyz II Men, and then you had a group like Jodeci that represented the other side. And that way, this is why I say groups are important. Everybody's flavor is met. So, yeah. But of that ranking, of those groups that are listed there, how would you rank them?
That's kind of tough. So we got Boyz II Men, we've got Jodeci. Who else?
112.
112. I love 112. And who else?
Blackstreet.
So if you're gonna bring 112 into the mix, you can't leave out Jagged Edge. You have to put them into the conversation too.
So how would you rank them? These groups. Who's at the top?
Who's at the top? What are we talking about? Are we talking about music? Are we talking about impact? Are we talking about vocals?
It says the worst quartet. She didn't put any qualifyings in there.
Oh, you have to. No, this is too much of a loaded question. You have to specify what we're talking here, and what are we saying? Voices, or we're talking about
just
production?
What's your opinion? You're trying to get down to too many specifics.
I need to know.
They don't have that.
That's what's wrong with the tweet.
Groups?
You can't make blanket statements like that.
It's not a blanket statement. Rank the groups. What's your preference?
I can't do that.
Okay, moving around then.
Can't do it. Can't do that because each group brought something different. They all sound different, so you can't rank them. Now, if I'm just calling stuff off the top of my head, I don't know. I'm going to Jagged Edge first.
Really?
Oh, first.
We can't count your music opinion.
If
why
I'm just if I'm pulling stuff,
why?
You know why?
Of all of those groups, Jagged Edge, and I like Jagged Edge.
Because they're you know why? Because they're at the bottom of the list and they're underrated. So I'm gonna go for the underdog first.
That's think why. They're underrated? Absolutely. Or are they underrated?
Absolutely. Because
underrated in what capacity?
Because of what you just said. You were like, oh no. As soon as you said Jagged Edge.
Me saying oh no meaning oh no, picking them at number one. I didn't say they didn't deserve to be on the list, but they don't deserve to be number one. And I can't think of anybody that would agree that they do.
I see someone is going hard in the comments for Jagged Edge. Actually.
Ooh.
Yeah, so Jagged Edge is good, and you can't say 112 and not have Jagged Edge in the conversation.
Why?
So I'm putting them in there.
112 vastly different than Jagged. They were out at the same time.
Same time. That's why.
So then
they were both hood. Jagged Edge a little bit more hooder, a little rougher.
112's element was definitely nothing to do with hood.
Come on now.
Not at all.
Are we being serious right now?
I'm being very serious.
Bad Boy Records, first of all,
what?
number one.
What was hood about 112's image?
Now.
What song?
It wasn't about the image. It was more about the
music.
feel.
What feel? What music?
See, I don't know their catalog like off the top of my head like that. I can tell you some good Jagged Edge songs though.
All right, moving on. Let's talk about Bow Wow, since we're talking about music. So Bow Wow says the reason why there is no number one hits as far as the Hot 100 or no number one album on the Hot 200 charts is because it all sounds the same. There's no originality, no one's trying. And I can't say that I disagree with him, but do you think that part of it is just old headism? Do you think that the youth, because our parents did not think that our music was necessarily impactful, that it would last, that it was meaningful.
Right.
So is it just that, we can't hear what is meant for the younger generation's ears?
No, it's very uniform. It all sounds the same. It's not really good. It's not good. Nothing stands out. It literally all sounds the same.
Okay. I feel you on that. So speaking of the chat, let's get to it. Let's get to some comments. Crystal is going up for Jagged Edge.
Thank you.
she is representing. She said it's Jagged Edge, 112, Drew Hill, then Boyz II Men.
Okay.
No mention of Jodeci in her lineup. Crystal.
No, but Jodeci was good there, and Jerry, he's on your head. He's mad that you mentioned J5 and Jodeci in the same sentence. And basically, he said
I wasn't comparing them.
All the groups after the Manhattans, okay, were downhill.
Okay, period. After the Manhattans.
Yes, the Manhattans.
Cherry, can we at least have somebody that had a hit in 1980? Can we at least take it to 1980? I appreciate it all, though. Tony Yayo said, I'm in my late 30s, and I agree with Bow Wow. I don't even listen to Top 40 radio. Where do you get your music from, Tony? You stick to your mixtapes and older music.
Absolutely. It is very much 1998 in my catalog right now.
No current music. How do you know? Then how do you know if it's good if you're not listening to it?
Well, I have my ways.
You have your ways.
And there's certain stuff that we play and listen to, but it's going back to the 90s. Let's default to that.
Okay. All right. Well, in other news, Diddy is going through it.
He's always going through it.
He's not always going through it.
He's always going through it.
I don't think so. But he's going through it currently. So what do we associate Diddy with right now? We associate him with Revolt, with Carisha, and what do we mainly associate Diddy with?
Wild Instagram posts.
Ciroc, which goes along with it.
And 10 years ago we did.
Ciroc and DeLeon. I
think
think
people still drinking Ciroc?
Yeah, they were. He still was coming out with flavors, and DeLeon, it was popular to some degree.
Yeah, Ciroc was hidden 10 summers ago.
Well, looks like Diddy and his distribution company are having a little issue with one another. So if you look at Diddy's Instagram, he has cleared it of all references of Ciroc and DeLeon. Why? Because the two are suing each other. Diddy launched a suit against them a few weeks back where he accused them of slight racism. They are the same company that distributes Casamigos, which was George Clooney's brand.
Yeah.
And he said that they gave more marketing dollars, more attention, more distribution to that than to his DeLeon and Ciroc. And he says it's because of racism. So now they are in retaliation coming back because they say, no, that's not what happened. You didn't own up to your end of the bargain, sir, and now we're going to part ways after all of the work and equity and time built up into Ciroc as a brand, as a movement from the people. So what I want to ask in relation to this is, do you feel duped when entertainers, celebrities, influencers, or whoever get into business with companies and scream that they are black owned, but it's like halfway black owned? Or do you just understand and respect that's how business goes sometimes?
Right. Yep. That's the nature of the business sometimes, yes.
So what are your thoughts about that? Do you care? Does it bother you?
Here's the thing. I think everything has its time and place, and everything runs its course. Ciroc ran its course. I'm not saying it's over, but Ciroc was everywhere. You would go into stores, there'd be a big Ciroc display, there'd be this, big Ciroc bottle. Ciroc was everywhere. It was in songs. So,
do you think it's that Ciroc? I mean, because here's the thing. Hennessy's been everywhere for forever.
Yes.
And it's still a drink,
yes.
right? It's still a thing. It's still purchased. People don't necessarily move away from it. Do you think that any of the celebrity endorsed alcohol brands or those type of products, because they seem to come in cycles, like every female beauty actress, influencer, whatever, has a skincare line or a hair care line right now, right?
All right.
So it's kind of like a kit. There are several alcohol brands. We've seen lots of wine lines. We've seen lots of athletes with wine and alcohol, tequila brands. Everyone's heavy on tequila brands. A few years ago, it was vodka.
Right.
So do you think that in that aspect of it, it is just trendy going with whoever's popular at the time? Or do you think any of these can really develop into legacy brands? And we'll get into your answer when we come forward in just a minute. You are listening to KBLA Talk 1580 RSVP with Jill Munroe. We have news and sports coming up next.
Know that booty gon' do what it want to. Can't hit it one time, multiple. I know you see this red backs on me. Now come and get high. 20, 40, 80 out the trap. Hit it with the rap, put it on the map. Then we right back. Call me when you wanna get high. 20 Montana with the racks. RSVP on my bag, double G's on my dash. I'm bad. I'm bad. When you wanna get, well, you can't get no higher than this. No, 'cause love don't get no higher than this. No. Grind, boy, you know I grind. When I pull up this change your mind.
RSVP with Jill Munroe is your go-to show for staying in the know. More engaging conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. Angela Bassett is among this year's batch of honorary Oscar winners. The Academy said they decided to award Bassett because her performances set a new standard in acting. The actress has only been nominated 2 times, once for her portrayal of Tina Turner and What's Love Got to Do with It, and as Queen Ramonda in Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. A child molestation lawsuit against Michael Jackson is being allowed to go to trial. Choreographer Wade Robson claims the music icon molested him at Neverland Ranch when he was between the ages of 7 and 14. According to TMZ, Robson is suing Jackson's corporation, MJJ Productions. Lawyers for the company argue that it had no legal duty to protect Robson or an ability to control Jackson, but a court of appeals disagreed and sent the claim back down for trial. That's the latest. I'm Amber Payton on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
If you're a late-night snacker, listen up. Buffalo Wild Wings created a menu of late-night food and drinks starting at $4, 10 till close, full of tasty apps and ice-cold beer to wash it all down. Limited time at participating locations. Offers, days, and times may vary. Drink responsibly. Void where prohibited. Tax and fees extra.
To boldly go where no man has gone before.
Boldly taking talk radio where it has never gone before. New vistas, new voices, new views, new visions, new victories. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we're taking public media black.
This is Tyrone, celebrating the 75th anniversary of Black Radio and June as Black Music Month. Brought to you by Procter & Gamble.
It's your thing. Do what you want to do.
Oh yeah, one of the most enduring musical groups ever, the Isley Brothers. Their hits began in 1959, and they've had new hits on the Billboard charts for 5 consecutive decades.
I try to play my music, they say my music's too loud. I try talking about it, I got the big run around. And when I roll with the punches, I got knocked on the ground by all this whiskey. Don't say
Procter & Gamble proudly celebrates the 75th anniversary of Black Radio and June as Black Music Month. Let's widen all views to the resilience, joy, beauty, and vastness of the Black experience. Learn more at pg.com/widen the screen.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 joins you in standing for voting rights. When We All Vote is a leading national nonpartisan initiative on a mission to change the culture around voting and to increase participation in each and every election by helping to close the race and age gap. Created by Michelle Obama, When We All Vote brings together individuals, institutions, brands, and organizations to register new voters across the country and advance civic education for the entire family and voters of every age to build an informed and engaged electorate for today and generations to come. When We All Vote empowers their supporters and volunteers to take action through voting, advocating for their rights, and holding their elected officials accountable. Please visit whenweallvote.org to stand up for your rights, voting rights. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
JP Morgan Chase is building on the investments in California and around the country to help close the racial wealth gap and build a more equitable future. As part of JP Morgan Chase commitment, they are taking action to help improve financial wealth and access to banking in the Black community, helping more people open low-cost checking and savings accounts, hosting community seminars with supporting Black-led institutions by building awareness about financial investments, hiring community managers, and opening community center branches like Crenshaw, Inglewood, and downtown LA. Visit today, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Again, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Get the tools to help reach your financial goals. Visit today, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Again, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminding you that we keep us safe. The Center for the Pacific Asian Family was founded to help address domestic violence and sexual assault in the Asian and the Pacific Islander communities. The Center for the Pacific Asian Family's mission is to build healthy and safe communities by addressing the root causes and consequences of family violence and violence against women. They are committed to meeting the specific cultural and language needs of the Asian and Pacific Islander women and their families. CPAF's vision is of an Asian and Pacific Islander community that embraces healthy relationships and works in partnership with other communities to eradicate all forms of violence. To access services, volunteer, or for more info, visit nurturingchange.org. At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe everyone deserves to be safe. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. Curating the most compelling stories and delivering them straight to your ears. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Promises you made me, all the things you told me. You said you'd never leave me, we'll be together for eternity.
Come through, Andy! You better represent with that Jodeci. I cannot take the Jodeci disrespect. You do not understand what it was like in 1992 to turn on your TV screen and see Video Soul and Jodeci bust onto that screen.
And in living color. You act like I wasn't there too. I was there. I love Jodeci.
I'm just saying.
I love Jodeci.
Okay.
Get On Up is one of my favorite records. That was later, but
that's what you're picking?
That was one of my favorite records.
Okay, I feel that.
It was
it's
later
a nice
on,
one.
but yeah.
It was on the third album.
Yeah.
The show, The After Party, The Hotel.
Yes.
That was, you know.
It was a solid album.
Diary of a Mad Band is my
Yes.
personal favorite, but all three, I'll take them.
I like them on Unplugged too. I have all those records.
The Unplugged was special.
That's where you really saw what they can do.
And that emotional moment with Casey and Mary at the piano. Listen.
You had to have been there.
Listen.
You had to have been there. I love Jodeci, and it wasn't Jodeci shade. That tweet was Jodeci shade.
That tweet was absolutely
all I said
Jodeci
was if
shade.
you're gonna bring up 112, you got to bring in my boys Jagged Edge too.
And you know,
that's all I
again,
said.
I like Jagged Edge.
Where the party at? Meet
Let's
me at
get
the altar.
married.
Yes.
Mean,
give me the keys to the range, because I want to promise. Look, come on, let's go. I love Jagged Edge. Anyway, this is your show, not mine.
You know, Jagged Edge. No, I'm just like Jagged Edge are definitely extensions of Jodeci
for sure.
The boots and all the exterior.
And if we really want to take it there, they're a combination of all those groups because those boys can sing.
Yes, and they wrote and produced as well.
Yep.
So from that perspective, I understand you saying to a degree.
Yeah.
That Jagged Edge is underrated because people may not recognize that they have so many different talents within the group as far as writing, producing, and all of that. However,
and all those groups, they have different, phases in my life, at least for me, because, Jodeci and Boyz II Men was like elementary school. Blackstreet was like junior high school, and Jagged Edge was high school for me. So it stands out.
You skipped over Drew Hill. You didn't rock with Drew Hill?
Yeah, I did, but
In My Bed, remix and regular version. Come on, you cannot.
No, I like Drew Hill, but in my head it was like they had that one CD and a few songs, and it wasn't like anything else. Okay, see.
2, and Cisco's solo album kind of counts as an extension.
Yeah.
And then when they came back, reformulated with the Drew Hill Voltron with Scola and whomever else in the departing parts, but they had a hit from that album too. Believe that's the name of it. So anyway, the bottom line, shout out to 90s R&B male groups.
Yes.
They are the 1, 2, 3, and 4, and it's really hard to put any over the other. Happily she didn't include somebody like
I tried
Shy
to avoid that argument,
like
and then I got hit because I said Jagged Edge.
Yeah. You took a haymaker for that because
I don't mind.
That is
I
not
love
the
it.
position that you should have taken.
Shout out to the twins.
Shout out to Brandon and Brian.
Yeah.
And
the Casey boys.
Okay. And shout out to Wingo and Kyle.
Yes.
That's the other two members. Yep. Shout out to them. All right, so we're going to circle back to Puff and this thing about, black-owned business, because you hear the thing a lot of times that people feel if it's not 100% black-owned, then somehow that takes away from it. And you obviously understand what is brought into that conversation, because there's been so many times when businesses that were black-owned were really being manipulated by others, or not really benefiting those who we saw in front. So we understand the sort of hesitancy when we see things like that. But overall, does it really matter to you?
It doesn't matter if, and see, here's the thing. A lot of the times what these entertainers, they go in presenting and making the pitch, right? So they have partners that help them, elevate their ideas and brands. So I'm all for that. It's just kind of the nature of the business. You're going to have some silent partners in the mix somewhere, and we've got to go where the real money is and where the real connections are.
But I think bigger than that too. I think that it's so easy to boil it down to, well, everyone of this race is good and everyone of this race is not. And the reality is, in order for things to progress, to grow, we got to come together sometimes.
Yep.
And how else are the wayward ones, let's say, going to be shown the way if they don't see examples of it day in and day out? So that's kind of my thoughts on that. But we'll see what happens with Puffy. Diddy. I'm sorry. Where are we at now in the name saga?
Sean Combs. So, I think he'll prevail at some point. He recently got his Sean John brand back after he sold it. So he was able to get those rights back so he can relaunch that. So, people really don't bring lawsuits unless there's something there to, bring forth. So there's some truth to it. And I just hope he prevails, and I hope all black business people get exactly what they deserve out of the deals for all of them.
Said, I'm rooting for everybody black.
For sure.
Let's go. So, next up, the legend Kobe Bryant. We know that he invested in body armor, which later was sold to Coca-Cola for billions of dollars. Well,
yes.
The smile.
Yeah, I read the article earlier.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So we know that.
I was just saying, smart business move.
It was. And so what has happened is that there was a lawsuit that was filed against Kobe. Kobe paid $6 million in 2013 for a 10% interest in body armor. So after it was sold for $5.6 billion, I think.
Yeah.
So I'm not doing the math on that, but for his $6 million investment and it's selling at $5.6 billion, Kobe got a lot of money for that. What's that, like $560 million?
Something. I thought I read $400 million.
Okay. Yep. That's it. $400 million. Yeah. See, that's what you get when you're trying to do snap math. Anyway, dollars out of my thing. So the woman that helped Kobe put this deal together attempted to sue him, saying that he promised her 2% of his 10%, right? But for whatever reason, it wasn't on paper. So she filed a counterclaim. Well, after Kobe passed away, Vanessa picked up the mantle and she continued the suit. And she was awarded the suit. She also had a counterclaim that alleged that this woman, Molly, had not only violated the duty of loyalty.
Of course she did. Her name
that
was Molly.
There was a non-disparagement clause in there, and that Molly had disparaged Kobe by trash-talking the family as well as Kobe. She allegedly Vanessa claimed that Molly referred to Kobe as an a-hole, that he was a douche nugget. I don't even know what that is.
Something a Molly would come up with.
Right. And that she called Vanessa the devil, psycho, and mocked the newborn baby as having Botox lipped. That she came out the womb with Botox lipped.
Now that was... You leave kids out of the mix.
You do. Absolutely do.
Come on, bro.
On top of that, Vanessa said that when Molly traveled while she was working to the company on a private jet to NBA All-Star, she said that there was a lot of fancy black people on the jet.
What she thought it was?
I don't know what she thought it was. Listen, At any rate, Molly lost her suit. Vanessa was awarded more than $1.5 million, and that includes attorney's fees as well.
On top of that, $400 million.
Right. So keep it moving. Keep repping for Kobe, Vanessa, as you always will. And Molly, should have tried something else. Oh, you almost had it.
You know what? It's here's the thing. When people negotiate deals like that for you, there's usually a commission fee involved off the top. And you usually get it, and that is your fee for negotiating said deal.
She
and that's
was
all you
trying to
get.
be set for life.
She was trying to be funny, and the joke was on her.
Well, when we come forward, we're going to get into a little more court files. There's a couple of more lawsuits floating around in the air because why? We are litigious society. Litigious. Okay, I can't talk tonight.
Yes.
Say it for me.
Litigious, and it's California.
Litigious.
And that's what we do in LA. We sue each other.
You know, this is just across the country.
It's a mess.
Well, when we come forward, we'll have all of that and more. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Trending topics and the hottest happenings. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
The pandemic may be over, but many Angelinos could be at risk of losing the place they call home. It's important to know your rights as a residential renter in the city of LA. Did you know eviction protection still exists for unpaid COVID-19 rental debt that was due before March 31st, 2023? And that you have 5 days to respond to an eviction notice, also known as an unlawful detainer. Learn more about your rental rights at housing.lacity.org. Be informed, be protected, be at home.
You're listening to K-Drip, where we play all the best classic water-wasting hits like Sprinklers in the Rain and Leaky Faucets. They're tunes from another time because now that we face a hotter, drier future, every drop counts. Despite an extremely wet winter, keep using less water, fixing leaks, and reusing indoor water for your garden. Visit SaveOurWater.com for more ways to conserve. Up next, brushing your teeth with the water on. K-Drip.
Do you have heart failure and often hear,
"Those stomach issues ruined your birthday"?
You're too tired to play catch, Grandpa.
Sweetie, you haven't touched your tools since the carpal tunnel syndrome diagnosis.
If these seemingly unrelated symptoms sound familiar, talk to your cardiologist and ask about transthyretin amyloid cardiomyopathy, or ATTR-CM, a rare and underdiagnosed disease that gets worse over time. Learn more at connecttoyourheart.com. That's connecttoyourheart.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Men, you fought hard for the role that you play in your children's lives. This Father's Day, Cordell & Cordell celebrates you the entire month of June. Join us every Friday for our live webinar series, Father's Fridays. There you'll receive much useful information from our panel of speakers. To register, go to CordellCordell.com/Father's Day.
1455 Frazee Road, Suite 1050, San Diego, California, 92108. CordellCordell.com.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
The rent is too damn high. KBLA joins you in calling for affordable housing. The LA Tenants Union is a diverse, tenant-led movement fighting for the human right to housing for all. The LA Tenants Union demands safe, affordable housing and union rent control. They organize against landlord harassment, mass evictions, and displacement, and mobilize for the repeal of the Ellis Act and Costa-Hawkins Act. The LA Tenants Union is on a mission to strengthen tenants' political power through education, advocacy, and direct action. To get help with your eviction or other landlord-tenant issues, take action for justice, or become a member, visit latenantsunion.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Now back to more captivating conversation on RSVP with Jill Munroe.
So, the good question of the night on RSVP with Jill Munroe was, would you be flattered if an ex was still keeping up conversation about you? You know, nothing bad, just mentioning you, saying how great of a person you are. And Trent, you say?
I'm the wrong person to ask about this, as a lot of things, but I am the keep it real friend, so I'm going to keep it real. Just don't talk about me.
Don't mention you.
Don't stop talking about me, as a matter of fact, because I'm probably sure a few of my exes are watching, because that's what they keep up with you.
Gosh.
So don't talk about me. Don't stop telling people that you knew me. We're not friends. And here's my thing. You can't even produce a picture of us, so you don't know me. Stop doing that.
Oh, you have people sign what? NDA clauses, no photographs.
No, it's just
no paparazzi.
It's just that
no
you
flash.
take pictures with your friends, and you take pictures with the people that you date. So, and then you sit there in front of them, they don't act right, then they go around and telling people, oh, you know, whatever.
So you're saying you don't take pictures with your significant other?
Not all the time.
Okay.
Not in this
and
instance.
how does that work?
Not in this instance. Oh, we do. You just have to be there for it. I don't post them on Instagram though.
Okay, that's fair. I don't either.
It's not on Instagram. I do take pictures though.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just not for public consumption.
Well, in the friend circle, in the text, you know,
In the group text.
you have to be there to see it happen.
Group
so
chat.
yeah.
Private life, happy life.
Yes.
Okay, I feel that.
Yes.
Well, the reason why this came up, as I said, was because of Shaq talking about his ex-wife, Shani. So this is what he said. Shaq described Shani as the perfect one. He said, we were young and I was just doing dumb stuff. But the good thing about our relationship is that she forgave me. He said, I tell my sons all the time, a man has 3 jobs when it comes to a woman. Protect, provide, and love. Some men can only offer 2 for whatever reason, but I'm going to teach you how to offer all 3. And that's what I try and do. I suppose that's the takeaway that he learned from him not necessarily offering all 3 to Shani at the time when they were married. He also says that he's not, that despite not being in a relationship right now, he knows that he let the best women in his life get away, being his oldest daughter, Arnett's mother, and Shani. So he said no matter what happens, he's always going to protect, provide, and love them. And we know Shani is married to Pastor Keon Henderson, and they've been together since 2021. They're married. They do conferences. She says she is very, very happy with where she's at. And Shaq says that although he is happy for her, she's still his wife. That's offensive. I know we talked a bit about you have to be a strong man in order to stand up to a circumstance by that, but I do believe that Shaq is going a little bit too far. Like, I get the sentiment. They have children together. They were together for many, many years. They obviously will still be connected. They'll be grandparents together. But saying another man's wife is your wife?
Thou shalt not covet. How come the pastor ain't told him that?
Pastor probably ain't saying much. Like, we're just going to leave that fool out there.
I get the sentiment of it because, you know,
I do.
It's
Their family.
It's like, you know, that it's kind of an accurate statement. That is, it once was his wife, you know, so he's still got the pictures and.
But she's somebody else's wife.
Absolutely, now. But I get the sentiment. He should have just kept that to himself. He shouldn't have. That was a little. Even when I saw him make the comment, I was like, it was kind of cringy. I was like, ooh.
I wonder how the woman that Shaq is dating feels.
But he said he's single.
I mean, yeah, but single doesn't mean that you're not dating. Single
He could just be
means that
jumping
you're
off.
Single.
He could be jumping off.
Andy, you look like you got something to say.
Come on, Andy.
I'm just curious to know, is Shani still Shani O'Neal?
No, she is Shani Henderson.
Okay.
She is married.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, that is his point. Leave her alone.
Yeah,
leave her alone.
leave it alone.
So if you have commentary on the good question or you just want to share your thoughts on the show thus far, hit us up, 800-920-1580. You can also hit us up on all of our socials, KBLA 1580, or download the app. Let's say you're about to leave the house and you're going in an Uber. And maybe they don't have access. You can take it with you and hand them tell them to hand you the aux cord. You can listen to us on the go.
Yeah.
That appeals, right?
Sometimes it appeals, but I don't think I don't want to hand all the Uber drivers my phone for an aux cord. They might be trying to take my info.
Okay, fair. So you just simply
siphon some photos on my phone.
Use your own charger.
True. Yeah, but
then you avoid that.
No, I could just plug in my headphones. And
you can just plug in your headphones and go.
Tune everybody out.
But what if your phone is dying?
Nah, I'm not getting in the Uber on 2%. That's a dangerous game.
Things happen.
Things do happen, and I might need to call somebody and say, listen, or
send location.
Yes.
Send location.
Anything.
Okay.
It gets real.
It gets real in the field.
I've been in an Uber before and got caught in the middle of a high-speed chase.
What?
Yes, in Los Angeles.
Explain.
So I was, we're riding in the Uber and just, driving down the street, got my headphones in, And all of a sudden, this car just comes flying through the intersection, and everyone stops. And 2 seconds later, cops come right behind them. Got caught in it. Yep.
And what did the Uber driver do?
He was actually a good driver. So he stopped and, avoided it because I guess he kind of saw it coming out of his eye or whatever. And he just kind of, waited till it passed and cleared the intersection.
Did he get a big tip?
I don't. Not a big one, but I tipped generally. It wasn't like extra.
You didn't give him extra for helping you avoid?
For saving my life?
Mm-hmm.
I should have. I wasn't even thinking about it that way. Now I feel bad.
Everyday heroes wear regular clothes.
Yeah, but now I feel bad.
You should have gave him an extra tip.
I wasn't even thinking.
He made sure you got to your destination safely. No accident.
I wasn't on time though, so I was annoyed at the end of it.
Was that his fault or?
It was actually. I was late before.
Okay.
He was running late before, but
right.
I feel bad now. Sorry, guy. I should have gave you some extra money.
How long ago was this?
4 months ago.
4 months. Okay, so it was recent.
Yeah.
Well, in other lawsuit news, Britney Spears is
come on, Britney Jean.
Still going through it.
Wow.
Her father.
I feel so bad for that girl.
Poor Britney. But her father is still trying to get lawyer's fees from her from the years long situation to free Britney from his conservatorship.
I love the fans for that.
We can get into another time whether it necessarily was the right thing to do. Surely we understand that she, as an adult, might have been being taken advantage of. But is there the slightest bit of possibility that...
There's always a reason. There's always a reason.
Yeah.
There's always a reason. There's a truth to everything. Just like Diddy and his lawsuits. There's something. There's money. There's mud in the water for sure. To what extent? I mean, come on.
We've seen Britney's videos.
There could have been some modifications to the thing just to give her a little bit more leeway.
And freedom as an adult.
Yeah, but the whole thing is a mess, and we weren't there. We don't know. It's really, really tragic to watch, and it's something that I'm kind of particularly sensitive to, even though I'm not invested in it. But it's a horrible thing to watch because that could happen to anybody.
Because what would you do? You never know. If something happens and you become incapacitated,
that could happen to
in some
anybody.
Form,
yes,
anything could happen, and you want people to be able to live safely and function as an independent person, but sometimes they need help.
But he should not be trying to recover more money. I think he had his time exploiting the bag, and he should knock it off. Kevin Hunter Jr.
Said it's about $6 million that he's seeking in
give it up.
Fees.
Sell one of those houses in the portfolio and move on.
Move on.
Yeah.
Never. Do you think people ever really give up? If they think that there is an opportunity, because you never really see the end if you attach yourself in that way and you think of a person as a product or a commodity.
Especially when you know how much money is there and how much money still can come in. Oh, you're going to try to keep getting money. Sell one of those ranches. You'll be fine.
Okay.
Sell a boat. You'll be cool.
Britney has a boat?
He got him.
Okay.
He was he was buying everything with that girl's money. Come on, stop playing with me.
A boat and a mansion and some yachts.
Yes. For each one of his girlfriends.
Okay, well, next hour we're going to continue upon our exploration of the sporting world, Trent's favorite topic.
Yes.
And we're going to discuss some little stories that are bubbling under in there. We got into a couple of them. We're going to get further into details. And then we're also going to talk about TV. I know you said you don't watch much, but we're going to get into later what is a show that you've checked out recently.
Oh, yeah.
That you just couldn't make it through. When we come forward, we're going to get into all
that was
of
a twist.
that. Yeah. When we come forward, we're going to get into all that. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Now my heart is built to last. My heart is beating for you fast. But now I know that you understand. I want to take you by the hand and walk with you down that
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. Angela Bassett is among this